of competition is called the Council Plateau. This competition involves the winner from various chapters comprising the NMA Council in Michigan, or the Combined Chapter Contest. Because there are no other NMA chapters in our council who are participating in the contest this year, actually today's winner automatically advances to the next level of competition, which is the Area or the Chapter Management Conference, or CLC level it's also called. There are 6 geographical areas in the U.S. that the NMA recognizes for the purposes of this contest. And here is contestant number 4.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to discuss with you organized labor in modern society. In a free market economy where independent business, not government, make most of the economic decisions, it is no wonder that labor unions formed. But in today's world of technology, are they really needed, or do they just get in the way of business and slow the economy with their demands? The definition of a labor union is an association of workers that seek to improve the economic and social well-being of its members through group action. But to some, it seems that unions are too demanding and that many have outgrown their usefulness. Unions were originally formed to combat the exploitation of workers and to gain better working conditions. The first real labor unions began to form in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Most early unions did not live long or gain much success. Economic depressions were the death of many early groups. But the post-Civil War era brought about the rapid expansion of the nation. As newer factories began to pop up, so did worker exploitation and injustice. Unsafe working conditions, long hours, and social injustice made workers interested in joining unions. Groups like the Knights of Labor worked for the benefit of all laborers. In 1886, with the unions again beginning to fail, the American Federation of Labor was formed. It was comprised of a large but loose confederation of many different unions. Striking, refusing to work, became a quite popular method for gaining an employer's attention and letting management know what the unions wanted. While many early strikes failed, the unions slowly started to gain power. In 1913, the Department of Labor was formed, and the U.S. government began to show increasing interest in unions, as well as support for them. Throughout the 20th century, many labor laws were passed and general working conditions improved. Unions continued to battle for fair employment where sex, race, or creed made no difference. They combated child and sweatshop labor and worked for the betterment of jobs. But even when they had completed their goals and had succeeded, they pushed forward. Sometimes, this pushing forward hurt the workers in the unions more than it helped them. A good example of this is Detroit's newspaper strike that began July 13, 1995, after contract talks failed between the Newspaper Guild and the Free Press, News, and Detroit newspapers. Over the issue of job elimination, because of feather bedding, the retaining of unneeded jobs by management, 2,500 people went on strike. During the strike, all the newspapers hired about 1,250 workers to replace the strikers. When the strike ended in 1997, the unions demanded that the newspapers allow the strikers to return to work immediately. The newspapers, however, refused to fire the replacement workers. Instead, they rehired strikers only as jobs became open. Many workers are still unemployed. The union's contract demands were never really met either, so the strike was pointless and harmful all the way around. Strikes like the 1981 air traffic control strike can hurt a certain industry as well. The strike left planes on the grounds for days, and the Federal Aviation Administration's demands that the workers return to work in 2 days or be fired caused the loss of jobs for over 11,000 out of the 15,000 controllers in the United States. A delay, due to the time it took to hire new controllers, cost the airlines a lot of money and time. The strike, while supported by a union, was an illegal one and should have never taken place. This loss of jobs and profits show how unions using the old ways only hurt themselves and gain nothing. Yet even today, with better technology and working conditions, unions still play an important new role in the economy. As technology begins to replace the unskilled factory worker, unions become much more important. Education becomes much more important. As robotics and computers make their advent on the workplace, old jobs become obsolete, while newer, more skilled jobs become open. Unions must advance to keep their members employed. While they have started to work with companies instead of against them to keep themselves in good light. While some older unions are starting to lose members, many newer unions for newer jobs are beginning to form. People who used to feel that their jobs were safe because of how high up they were in their corporations are now realizing that even they are in danger. The security that unions can provide for workers who fear layoffs impending upon them entices many people to join unions. Unions, in fact, have begun to function more like businesses themselves. They have a management system, with the members being lower employees, while the president acts as a CEO. Probably the biggest change in unions has come from the fact that several members now sit on many corporations' board of directors, where they have active roles in business decisions. This seems a far cry from the war the unions waged against the boardroom, but economy, necessity, and time have changed the way unions look at companies and companies look at unions. By working together, the two groups can help boost the economy all around. I now pose to you this question. Are unions needed and important, or have they outlived their usefulness? From my standpoint, they are important in the fact that they keep businesses in check, but I feel that many unions will have to modernize, or their methods might hurt both the economy and business alike. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're halfway through. The area level of competition for today's winner happens in Georgia in May. The first place prize at that level is $2,000 in U.S. savings bonds. The second place is $1,500 in U.S. savings bonds, and the third place is $1,000 in U.S. savings bonds. The first place winner has the right to represent our larger Midwestern area at the national contest in the fall. And now we have the fifth speaker.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The title of my essay is Entrepreneurs: What Pitfalls They Must Avoid and What Steps They Take in Organizing a Business. As a high school senior, I will be graduating in June 2002 and proceeding to college, majoring in business administration. And in the future, I would like to own my business. An entrepreneur is a person who owns his or her business, benefiting from the profits and sharing the pain of loss as well. The dictionary identifies an entrepreneur as a person who organizes, operates, and assumes the risk for business ventures. Starting a business is an exciting but risky adventure. Adequate preparation beforehand includes taking college courses, researching the market potentials, formulating a business plan, securing adequate financial backing, and surveying possible business locations. According to the Microsoft and Charter Encyclopedia 2000, an entrepreneur also decides on products, acquires the facilities, labor force, capital, and productivity materials. Failure to plan to succeed is actually a plan to fail. During my research, I read a book by Vicki L. Montgomery, which refer mostly to female entrepreneurs. Ms. Montgomery asserts essential questions to ask. What do I have to lose, and am I willing to lose it? She also indicates never to give things that one is willing to lose. She itemized some important considerations for potential entrepreneurs to remember, which are great possibilities of failure, importance of collecting as much pertinent data as possible before proceeding with personal expectations, and taking time to identify goals. A paramount consideration for business success is the realization that one cannot do it alone. The growth of business will require employees. These employees must be motivated to want the business to succeed. It is to the employee's advantage to foster this attitude. I have been positively influenced by entrepreneurship in my family, who are successful. One of them is my uncle, Larry Alibioshu. During a recent work experience, I had an opportunity to ask Mr. Alibioshu a few questions about the quality of his employees. He said emphatically, "Without my employees, this place would have been a failure. They have been with me through thick and thin. Trust me, they are the best." My uncle has been in business for almost 12 years now and owns a men's clothing store. I also read a book called Motivation at Work by Jane R. Miskell. Ms. Miskell shares several business gems in her article, Motivational Techniques. She specified that employers can encourage employees to thrive by providing them with a safe, convenient, satisfactory work area. Managers to always be attentive and listen. Ms. Miskell indicates some requirements of employees, such as security, desirable type of work, desirable company, friendly co-workers, advance and recognition. These two individuals, Ms. Miskell and my uncle, Mr. Alibioshu, to say that employees' attitude toward their job definitely makes a difference in their work quality. There are lots of entrepreneurs in the market today, but only few are extremely successful. Among these few, I have chosen Quincy Jones, Henry Ford, Osborne Adam, Eastman George, Stevie Wonder, and Sean P. Diddy Combs as my role models in the entrepreneurial world. Henry Ford was involved in the industrialized economies of the late 20th century and is still known today for schools, hospitals, cars, and museums. Osborne is a computer entrepreneur, while Eastman is an inventor and a philanthropist. Jones, Combs, and Stevie are involved in the music business. I admire all of these people because of the way they work and the perseverance they put toward achieving their goals. When I own my business in the future, I would like to use my uncle's strategies of pleasing his employees by getting familiar with everyone personally, talking to them in a way they'll feel at home, encouraging them to feel free to talk to me at any time, contribute ideas to make the company even better. All of these are ways my uncle uses to sustain his employees' work conduct. Owning a business will be stressful, beneficial, and rewarding. I look forward to owning my business and furthering my education. Also, fulfilling my dream as an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Consistent with the purpose of the fourth stage of competition, the final stage of competition for this contest is the national level, which will be in San Francisco in the third week of September. Competing at this level are the 6 area winners from across the country. Savings bond prizes are established at $10,000 for first place, $5,000 for second place, and $3,000 for third place. So you can see the money is getting higher and higher as we go along. Each of the 3 fourth-place contestants will receive a $500 check. I'll note also that the NMA does cover the transportation expenses for the contestants who advance to the area and the national levels. And now we have contestant number 6.
Women have excelled greatly over the last century in the corporate world. Historically, there were clerks and paper pushers in business transactions rather than proprietors in these sales. They had to fight for their individuality, fight for their right to vote, fight for equality in the workplace, and are still faced with many challenges today. Women started at the very bottom of America's economy and are now slowly but surely on a steady rise to the top. For example, my mother, Veronica Jarvis, she started her career as a waitress, making minimum wage plus tips here and there. That was 20 years ago. Today, she is the only African American district manager, male or female, for the Disney store. And the president of Disneyland, Cynthia Harris, was once a co-worker of my mother's. The American economic system which is predominantly male, has played a major role in impeding our progress as women in the corporate America. Our society has embraced the stereotype that women are inferior to men. The reality of the situation is gender has no effect on intelligence. For this reason, women have been only allowed to move so far up the corporate ladder. Thus, the frequently used term glass ceiling applies. To transcend the glass ceiling, many women have turned to entrepreneurship. The first wave of entrepreneurial businesses controlled by women was fairly small, service-oriented, and didn't produce much revenue, but they did give women an outlet to get their feet wet in the world of business. These businesses started in fields that women were very comfortable in, such as cosmetics, housekeeping, and food services. These women had not yet reached a level at which they could compete with the average entrepreneurial male. Exceptions to this rule did women like Madam C.J. Walker, one of the first African-American millionaires who back in the early 1900s invented the straightening comb and other hair care products to help African-American females maintain their hair. More recently, Martha Stewart. She started an entire empire simply off of home decorating and designing, and is earning her millions and millions of dollars. However, a recent study done by the Small Business Association found that in mainstream businesses, on an average, self-employed women make less than half of what self-employed men earn. However, over the last 2 decades, a second wave of female entrepreneurs has hit the scene, equipped with more business savvy. These women are better educated and are leaving executive positions to start their own businesses. Women of this second wave have become more lucrative in their accomplishments as entrepreneurs by entering fields such as communication, technology, and finance. The best example of this new wave entrepreneur would have to be Oprah Winfrey. She started out as a news anchor and quickly became the most sought-after talk show host in the country. She didn't stop there, though. Instead of peddling her talents, Oprah maximized her potential by becoming her own media empire, producing movies, magazines, novels, talent shows, TV shows, and the list goes on and on. Oprah has proven that women can succeed in our economy today, and she's done so by becoming one of the wealthiest people in America. Studies show that 38% of all these new generation businesses have revenues of $500,000 or more. Plus, women now own 38% of all businesses, and another 27% of women sit on the boards of directors. Women were not given a chance to be successful in American business. However, we kicked the door open and let ourselves in. We have steadily excelled, and our motives of putting our family first have shaped a lot of our businesses. We started timidly, keeping everything simple, small, risk-free. But now we are more aggressive, and we own more than a quarter of all businesses in America. Nina McClemmer, chair of the Center of Women's Business Research and president of Regent Capital, stated, "Their outlook on growth and their appetite for capital may indicate that the new generation of women-owned firms is poised to make an even greater economic contribution in coming years. Watch out, America. Here we come."
One of the prizes that each contestant will receive today is a goodie bag of assorted Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan merchandise. This merchandise has been provided by the Community Affairs, FEP Marketing, and Corporate Key Accounts departments here at BCBSM, which spread the word about Blue Cross and sponsor a lot of worthwhile events in our communities. We thank these departments for their help in rewarding the efforts of today's contestants. Each contestant will also go home with a framed plaque to help him or her commemorate the event. Now here is contestant number 7.